Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Can you buy a decent car for £200? Well, no, not really. I think we all know that. But just humour me for 5 minutes, because today I'm in an E39 BMW. And, well, who doesn't like those? Now let's face it, 200 quid isn't a lot of money for a car. But it can still get you one that will do you for 6 months or so. This isn't really a video about what to watch out for when buying an E39 or anything like that. Basically, I took it in part exchange a couple of days ago, and I just love the E39 that much, I thought I've got to film with it. So I thought, could you actually buy a car like this for a couple of £100 and keep it for a few months or years or whatever, without it costing you a fortune? Well, let's find out, shall we? Bangonomics, as it's sometimes called, or the practice of running a cheap car on a shoestring, can be quite an appealing idea. It's an idea that I flirted with myself, but to be perfectly honest with you, most of my day is spent driving things like this. People's stinking, horrible, filthy part exchanges ridden with faults. So at the end of another unrewarding, miserable day in the motor trade, it's quite nice to jump in something half decent. In order to partake in the sub-£1,000 world of cars, you've got to be truly up for it. It's not really about the car itself, it's more about your mindset. This car, for example, has an MOT for around 6 months, which means you could use it for 6 months every day, and then if it won't pass its next MOT, which it probably won't, scrap it. It weighs quite a bit, so you probably get most of your £200 back. So in that respect, it does make financial sense. Also, I don't want to sound out of touch, because I'm quite aware that a lot of people drive bangers, not for a laugh or because it's a fun thing to do, but it's all they can afford. But just because you've got a small budget doesn't mean you have to drive something dull. I mean, look at the Volvo V70 that I paid £400 for that I filmed with a few months ago. Or one of my very first videos was with a Lexus IS200 that I paid just £100 for. So yeah, just because you're on a tight budget doesn't mean that you'd have to drive something boring. I mean, look at this for example. Don't look too hard at the bodywork because the wings are holier than a piece of Swiss cheese. But the rest of it's in really quite good nick. There's loads of tread left on the tyres. The engine is as sweet as a nut. The gearbox is silky smooth. There are a couple of little faults. For example, the driver's door handle on the inside is here, which means to get out, you've got to put your window down and reach around and let yourself out, which isn't the most dignified exit. Also, when I go around a bend like this, one of the rear doors flies open. Now, because I'm the son of an engineer, I've managed to fix it. I think my dad would be very proud of me. So mechanically, this one must have been maintained quite well, because I haven't got a single warning light, and it still drives really well. The suspension isn't all loose and knocking. The quality of the interior is excellent too. There are no rips or tears, or nothing's broken apart from the door handle. You will have to put up with some negative aspects though. As I mentioned, the door handle snaps off, the rear door doesn't latch properly, and if you pull up anywhere, it does look like a bit of a shed. You could spend a few £100s on bodywork to try and make it look a little bit prettier, but before you know it, you'll have it owing you too much money, and that isn't the way to go really. I love these old BMWs. Late 90s and early 2000s were my favourite era of BMW. I've had plenty of them in my time, and this one for example, I know you can't tell this, but it's still got that BMW leather smell. If you know, you know. My old 2001 X5 had this same steering wheel. It sounded the same too, the same sort of 6-cylinder engine sound. So if you find something with a few months MOT remaining on it, that runs and drives and doesn't leak oil everywhere, then really it's not a bad decision. You can drive it, keep it for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and then scrap it if you have to. The price of metal these days will mean that you get most of your money back. Like I said, I paid £200 for this. If I've got to scrap it, which would be a bit of a shame to be honest, but if I've got to scrap it, I'll probably get £180 back. So thanks once again for watching. Let me know below if you bought something like this for a few £100s and then kept or scrapped or whatever, because I am genuinely intrigued. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the usual sort of stuff. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers guys.